Welcome to the Lotco Business Podcast, a show all about helping you as a retailer, brand, or creative understand the actual business side of running your business. I offer straightforward, practical advice about the nitty-gritty of making money from your creative passion. We will be covering bite-sized business and marketing lessons, as well as interviews with experts and trailblazers in the fashion, homewares, and design industries. My name is Melissa Robbins. I'm a business coach, colour-loving, non-coffee drinking Melburnian. Let's get into it. Let's talk today all about email marketing. Now, this is one of those things that it baffles me a little bit because I see so many of my clients, product businesses in general, spend so much time on their social media content. They complain that it takes a lot of time to create content, yet they don't spend any time or hardly any time on their email marketing. Now, I don't know if you've seen the stats, but there is a number out there that the average number of times someone opens an email every day is 15 times. Now, that's the average. There may be people who open it many, many more times than that, and obviously less than that as well. But people are checking their emails regularly, and yet it is one of those things. Some people that I speak to, they either email once every month, maybe once every 2 or 3 months. Or they email maybe once a week or a fortnight, but they only send sales emails. And so there's a lot of potential there in email marketing. And I believe if you took a little bit of that time away from what you spend on your social media content and applied it to some of your email marketing, that could have a huge impact on your business. Ideally, you are going to be able to generate 30 to 50% of your total sales from your email marketing. Now, there may be two types of emails here I'm talking about. So if you are a brand who wholesales as well as retails, so you sell B2B and B2C, you might have two different types of emails that you have set up. If you're a retail store, an e-commerce store, whether it's physical or just online, then you are just sending B2C. You're just sending direct to your customer, direct to the consumer. Ideally, you'd be sending at least one a week, if not more. The smaller your list, you may be able to get away with sending them less. So let's say that if your list is under 500 people, you may just send one a fortnight to begin with and then build up what you actually send to your customers. But the thing is about this, it is the way to actually nurture your customers. It is a way to build community. It is a way for them to understand who you are, your values, what makes you tick, what your inspiration is behind your product, how we're using your product, what do they think about it, what are some trust factors, or how does it actually work, what makes you, get inspired to create this product in the first place. There's so many ways that you can connect with your customer through email that you can't do through social, but also, trying to use content and create content so that it works in all areas of your business. It's not just all separation as well. Some people that I see are just so scared to actually send emails to their customers. I even see, up on people's websites, on their pop-ups that say, hey, sign up here. We promise we won't spam you. We promise we'll only send you, occasional emails. And they're so apologetic. Like, someone doesn't have to sign up to your pop-up. They don't have to sign up to your email list. It's their choice. But if they do sign up, they probably do want to get emails. So don't ghost them and never send them information or only send them when you actually have a sale going on. Use it to get to know your customers, to speak to them more often, to connect with them more. Email marketing is such a wasted opportunity, and there is just so much potential for the product businesses that I see out there and physical retail stores who could be doing more with email marketing. Actually, one of the reasons I ran an email mastery challenge last week, which was all about 3 days to increase the effectiveness of your emails, because people like me are saying, here you need to send more emails. You hear it from lots of other people too, that email marketing is a great way to connect with your customers if you're doing a sale or if you're doing a promo, or how to nurture your customers. But one of the big gaps that I see is that it's all well and good to send emails, but if they're not very good emails, they might not be working. And it may be the reason that you've given up on the first place, or that you don't invest the time into them, or that you just don't think it's worth it because you're not getting the return on that investment. And it's not to say that every email you send is going to give you, 5 times the, money it's cost you to send out. The actual ROI on email marketing in general is 45 times. So for every dollar you spend, getting $45 back in your email marketing. That is a stat that's, I read it the other day through MailChimp and through HubSpot as well. So there's definitely that data is there proven that if you actually spend time on it, it can work and it can actually bring you a great return on your investment. So if one of the barriers that you think you have is that you don't have enough time, have a little time tracker of how much time you spend on your social media content versus your email, and just have a little think about if that's a good use of your time. If there's like 20 minutes, half an hour a week that you can pull away from your social and actually dedicate to your email marketing as well. And I say that amount of time because if you've got the right system set up, which I'm going to go through some of those shortly, then that's all it should take you. It should take you between 30 minutes and an hour to send the right email if you've had all these other things in place to help you with that too. So what I'm going to share today is 10 ways to help you improve your email marketing, what that looks like, what are some of the design elements you need. Let's get into what all those things are now. Right, number one is to create a plan. It is really tough to only spend half an hour on an email every week if you have no idea what you're going to send. If you sit down at your computer and you think, oh, I need to send an email, that's when it's hard. That's when it makes it tough. That's when it takes hours or so much time because you haven't got a plan. Ideally, you would have your emails mapped out in terms of what type of things you're going to be sending at least 90 days, if not longer than that. In my Know Your Email Marketing program, which is one of the programs I use to help you with your email marketing, the first thing is really understanding how your email marketing relates to the rest of your content, the rest of your marketing strategy, and putting a plan in place to map out your marketing activities over a certain period of time so that then your email marketing can match back to that as well. And so that you're not being reactive in, oh, I need to send an email, but you've planned ahead, you've got an idea about what's going on. The calendar matches up to your life as well, and that's a big factor. And also matches up to, events that are taking place in the world or, in the calendar event of the year. Without the plan, it's really hard to maximize your time. Without a plan, it's really reactive in what you're doing. So making a plan for your email marketing is the first step. Number two is to make sure that you use templates. Whatever email system you have, whether you use Klaviyo, which I do think is the best e-commerce email system. It is the higher price point though. So if that is a little bit above where you're at right now, then I believe the next best suggestion is Flowdesk. And that's got some beautiful templates in there. The price points are quite different. So if you're not doing any email marketing right now, I think Flowdesk is a great option. If you're like, no, I need to make sure that I'm really nailing my email marketing, I'm really going to go, do this properly, I'm building a bigger brand, go to Klaviyo and set that up now. Other ones, options, which I don't love, MailChimp. There's things like ConvertKit, ActiveCampaign. There's things like MailerLite, which I think may have just closed. There's also things like the Shopify email, but they don't give you that functionality of what the other systems do, and they don't match up with the automations and integrations and stuff either. So ideally, you would go on either Klaviyo or Flowdesk, in my opinion, based on where you're at and what level you're at as well. But every one of these different systems have templates inside them. And that's what you need to start to use to make your life easier. Starting from scratch and doing things, completely new every time you go and send an email makes things tricky. It also sucks your time. So making sure that you have, whether it's between 4 to 10 templates that you use, and keep using those different ones, whether you go and use those 4 to 10 templates as a rotation, depending on what type of email you're sending. So let's say if you're sending a sales or promotional email, you might use a particular template. If you're sending an education email, if you're sending a reviews email, if you're sending a content specific email about something you're sharing about your blog or something you're sharing about tips, all those sort of different things, you might use different templates. Having those set up already makes it a lot easier for when you're going to produce your email. If you don't like the email templates that are available, there's so many different ways to go and find new emails, and I'll share a few in the show notes and the link below. But even things like Canva. Canva has so many amazing templates out there. There's other people that offer free templates. I've got some free email templates that you can access. There's so many ways that you can get some really cool, great emails. So you can get that great email already. Number 3 is to consider your design elements. This is one of those areas that I'm like, oh my gosh, I really focus on this in my email mastery challenge, because I was like, there's no point sending those emails if they're not really good emails, if they're literally shit emails, which I said in the program, this is why I've created this. You have to have design elements and consider design in your email marketing. What that looks like is 5 of the biggest mistakes I see people make with their design. They don't have a high enough contrast. using a contrast checker to make sure that your font and your color of your background is readable. So many people have such low contrast that you can hardly read it. Now, I may be showing my age and the fact that I need to wear reading glasses and it's getting worse and worse. My eyesight is definitely deteriorating, but the easier you make it to be read, and this goes for all your content, whether it's on your email, your website, or your socials, it's got to have high contrast, because people are just going to leave if they can't read it. If it's just like, forget it, I can't even see that properly. Don't make it hard for people. Don't put up a barrier for them. Like, it's hard enough anyway. Just don't make it even harder for yourself. So that's number one of the mistakes, contrast. Make sure it's high, and I'll share a link on how to check the readability and if your contrast is high enough. Number two is the size of your fonts. Use big font sizes. Again, make it easy to read, easy to see from a distance. People are walking along, reading your email as they're scrolling, or at school pickup, or, making dinner. Make it easy to read. Don't make it too small. Have big size fonts especially for headings and for bold announcements. Big, large fonts and clean, easy to read fonts as well. So that comes back to that contrast as well. Number three is too much text. Like, attention spans are short. You cannot give me too much information in an email. Now, this goes against everything that I do in my emails, but I will say that service-based businesses and product-based businesses are quite different. So you want to be, if you're a product-based business, you want to get to the point faster. You want to have maybe paragraph of text in there as well. And you definitely want to have more imagery and more call to actions than you do focusing on big chunks of text. If you are sharing, say, a bit part of a blog article, share 1 to 2 paragraphs and space out the sort of the wording so that it's easy to read again, and you can send to people to your website to read more and to read further. If you're trying to share a lot of information at once, use things like icons, use things like little infographics to actually share that information. Number 4 in the biggest mistakes is people don't put their, big announcements or big information above the fold. Ideally, you would put all these sort of key information above the fold in the email. So what that looks like is, without having to scroll, I should be able to see that it's a particular discount, or that you've got a new arrival, or that you've got something coming soon, or that you've got a competition. And I should be able to see a call to action button. So that's number 5, making sure you have enough call to action buttons without too many, and above the fold. So ideally you would have high contrast, big enough font. You would not have too much text. You would have the key information above the fold, and you would have a call to action with high contrast above the fold too. Tell people what to do. So that were the 5 design elements that you need to cover. So that is we're only just up to number 3. Right, let's get into number 4. Number 4 is to try and add in some moving elements. So ideally you're trying to attract attention. You're trying to stop the scroll of them moving through, past your information quickly. Having something moving, a GIF or a video that has a sort of flash or change in the view, is going to attract attention. More and more of the bigger companies are starting to do this in nearly every email. And you don't want too many elements, but having one scrolling bar across the top, or one image where it is flashing between, 4 to 5 different products you might be selling or you're releasing, is a great way to grab attention. And they are super easy to make. I've got a link in my email mastery challenge. Again, I went through how to make this. And so if you want that link, just let me know. I'll put it in below as well. How to make a GIF, how to make it quick and easy in Canva as well. Right, number 5 is to be specific. If you're not sending emails very often, what I tend to see is that people will send one email every, let's say, 8 weeks or 10 weeks, and they send the longest email with about 27 different events or things that have taken place in their shop. Too much information. People don't know what to do, so they'll do nothing. Don't give people too much information in the one email. Ideally, it would have 1 to 2 topics, or 1 to 2 announcements, or 1 to 2 bits of information to share in that one email. And this is where you may send more over a period of time because you've got more to share. So keeping it neat and tight into one email. Again, attention's short. You don't want to give people too much information. They won't click anywhere if you've given them like 27 different things to read and to sort of focus on, or follow up and look into more information for. Be specific and keep it to 1 to 2 bits of information at a time. If you're a physical retail store, sometimes that can be hard because you may have had like 10 different deliveries of 10 different brands. But this is where you've got to try and, pick whether you might have a GIF and it shows like 5 different brands you've had drop in, and, ask people to click through to your new arrivals and have a look at the rest of it. Don't put everything in that one email. So keep it short and keep it sweet. Number 6 comes back to what I talked about before, like send your emails regularly. Use a bit of that time in your week instead of posting one more thing on social media, half an hour to an hour, an email a week, and actually be consistent in what you're sending out. The more consistent you are and the more people open your emails, the more likely they are to be higher deliverability. The more engaged people are going to be, then people are going to look forward to your emails. The less you just send sales emails, then the more people are going to be like, what else can I find out in here? What's interesting? How do I use this product? How does someone else style my product? How does someone else style this product? What are some great gift ideas that they're sharing? Oh, maybe they've got a giveaway this week. So have that plan and send your emails regularly so that your customers start to look forward to them and they open them more often as well. Always check your stats and review those analytics. It is so crucial to start to sort of, once you are using email marketing more, to start to understand what's happening, to go back and check, is my open rate okay compared to the average? Is my click-through rate okay? Am I getting, huge amount of unsubscribes on particular types of emails? And again, I will just say here, do not worry about unsubscribes because we don't want to focus on them, but it would be good just to have that analytics and understand what may be happening in particular times as well. So know what your data is, understand what yours is. I grabbed some information from MailChimp the other day, which I don't like their emails, but I don't mind, obviously they know their stats as well. Their data points were average open rate was around 30%, average click-through rate is around 1 to 2%. Okay, and that last one was the unsubscribe rate of 0.19. So again, we don't want to focus on that. And I want to make sure that you're actually sending emails and not worrying about unsubscribes rather than worrying about the people on your list who you don't send anything to anyway. So you're better off sending more emails and having people unsubscribe than not sending any at all. And of course, we always want to be working on how to build your list, how to add more people to your list, how to nurture the people that are on there. So we don't just want to spend time, attracting people through your social media or your Facebook ads and not then nurturing them through your email. So understand that you will get unsubscribed. That is okay. Let those people go. There's more people, making space for more people to come onto your list as well and to find out about you. Please do not focus on that as a reason to not send your emails. Right. So number 8 is to always test all different things, whether it's the design elements you've put in there, whether it's the subject line that you've used, whether it is the time of day or the different days of the week that you're going to send your email. Test all different things. And this is where certain systems will have things like A/B testing. So you could create 2 different subject lines and it will send out both and start to track both. And those with the better stats, it will just start to use that one as the preferred. You may look at, just your analytics in general and think about, is my customer, my target market, when are they opening their email more? Are they mums who, don't open it between 6 and 8 p.m. or are they all opening it at 9 p.m.? Like, what is it for your target customer? Testing different things to see what might work. And definitely don't be afraid to send them on like a Sunday or early in the morning. So everyone is different. So just maybe testing different things to start to understand what's working and what's happening. And that's where your analytics come into, really knowing what to look for and checking the stats. And the email systems have great stats, so it shares that with you anyway. And number 9 I've sort of talked about is that once you are sending emails regularly, it improves your deliverability for the people on your list are going to get them into their inbox. They're not going to hit the spam box. They're not going to get blocked. They're not going to bounce. So the more often you send your emails and the better the content that you create in your emails and you encourage people to open your emails and click through, then that will improve the deliverability as well. And it's a bit of a chicken and egg, like where do you start, what's happening? But you've got to get started with your emails. If you haven't sent out any emails to anyone in like 6 months, don't send maybe 7 emails in a week because that's going to sort of, have a spam filter come up and go, oh, what is she doing? What's happening here? So gradually build up to it again. And that leads me into the next one, which is to make sure that you segment your list. You do not necessarily want to be sending every email to every one of your customers. You want to start to build your database of clients. You want to start to make sure that you segment who they are, where they're coming from, what's different about them, what are some characteristics that sort of are specific to that segment. What I mean by that is, let's say that you have a physical retail store. You might have particular clients who just love certain brands. So they're going to be on that particular brand's list. You might have a list of VIP customers. If you go back into your data of your Shopify or whatever, system you use for your website, and you might be able to see that you've got a top 50 customer who just, they have ordered so often and they order all the time. So segment out those people and have them be your VIP list. You may have a segment which has not bought for the last 6 months, so that you can nurture them in a different way and send them different emails to what you might send everyone else. You may have it set up by, if you've had a market, that particular group of people who've come in from that market are maybe your local customer as opposed to an online customer who comes from a different country. So definitely have segments of your audience all broken up, and it could be through tags, or it's all called different things in the different email systems. But essentially you want to have a whole list and then little different sections of people that sometimes you send to everyone, sometimes you only send to some people. So keep that in your database of people as well. Now, I haven't even touched on what automations and flows you should have set up in your business. I have done that in a different podcast, which I'll link below as well. It's talking about all the different types of automations you should have set up. And though having those things set up as well can really generate quite a lot of income for you without you doing too much. You're spending time setting them up in that first place, but they can really work behind the scenes, helping you bring more income into your business through your email automation flows. Now, the other thing I haven't really talked about yet is to how to build your list. And again, I've got another podcast specifically on that. But what I will touch on is that making sure that the design elements of your pop-up on your website, and please make sure you have one. I know I had one client who she was like, I hate them, Mel. I do not want to have them on my website. I'm like, it works. Please put them on there. Please, can we just test it out? And of course, not everyone likes them, but they can really have a huge impact on building your database and building your list. So make sure, though, it is, again, high contrast. It is focused on the right thing. If you just say to me, sign up to my email list because you'll get news, you're not going to get any people sign up. You've got to have some incentive. It doesn't have to be a financial one or a discount. It does help though, but you can also have a different sort of lead magnet, or maybe you do a quiz on your website and you're building your list in different ways. Maybe you have a voucher that you give away once a month. Definitely have something though to encourage people to sign up on your list. And ideally you would have a pop-up. You would have in your homepage of your website, you would have another, like a bigger section. And then you would also have it as a footer in your website too. So that's just 3 ways that you could have it on your actual homepage of your website. And you definitely want to be sharing that often on your social media to encourage people to get on your list. Offer your subscribers something different so they do get something special, so that you do treat them as special, that they are VIP. Make sure that you do give that to them and share on social what you might be about to share to your subscriber list to encourage people to get on that list so they get first access to stuff as well. So definitely always talking about it on your social, encouraging people to sign up, having that be an automation on your Shopify that they are signed up unless they tick otherwise. That really helps as well. So that's just some ways to actually get people to be on your list. And as I said, I've got a whole podcast episode on it. All right, so let's just go through, though, the 10 ways that we talked about to improve your actual email marketing. First of all, we had number 1, make sure you have a plan. That makes it so much easier and time efficient to actually have a plan. You're much more proactive rather than being reactive all the time, which will save you energy and time. Number 2 is to use templates that are available and have your own versions of your own templates that you use regularly and rotate through, so you're not starting from scratch every time. Number 3 is to make sure you consider those design elements I talked about. You've got to send good emails. They cannot just be a random blast out with the worst contrast and way too much information in them. Number 4 is to add some moving visual elements to attract attention. Not every email, not every time, and not 7 in one email, but definitely start to think about how can you add in that visual element of what we're so used to seeing content like now. Add in that visual element. That's number 4. Number 5 is to be specific. Do not send too much information. 1 to 2 topics max. Number 6 is to send regularly. Keep them going often. Nurture your list. Send different types of emails. Don't send a sales email, and don't send just what you're actually selling every single time. Number 7 is to always understand your analytics, review them, check them, make note of them. And then number 8 is to test different things all the time to try and figure out, what's the best way. And these can be gradual, small little changes that can make a big difference over time. If you can start to generate a little bit of income through your email marketing every week, every month, and you're always constantly improving them over time, that's going to add a fair bit to your bottom line. Number 9 is to look at how you can improve that deliverability, try and stay out of the spam folder, have particular words that you don't use in your subject line. Always test your subject lines. I've got a whole list of which ones you can use as well. In my program, Now Your Email Marketing, I really dive into all of these things in a lot of detail. And number 10 is to make sure you segment your audience. So definitely, you don't have to do this at the very start, but as you try and build up your list in different ways, you may have one that's called pop-up from your website. You may have one that's called market list. You may have one that's called friends and family. Like, definitely have different segments on your list. Now, I hope that you're listening to this and thinking, okay, I should spend a little bit more time on my email marketing. I should think about how to make sure that it contributes to my sales a little bit more, and how to understand that it can actually build up that return customer rate on your website too. If you look at your return customer rate and it's under 30%, you've got room for improvement for sure. And even if it's above, obviously you can always nurture your customers more as well. All right. So if you want any help with your email marketing, go and check out my Now Your Email Marketing program, which is in the show notes. And I also have a special promo one where if you're doing a promotion or a sale, I have a best sales yet template section where it goes through every one of your emails that you need to generate huge amounts from your next sale that you have or promotion that you have. And what I'm going to share is the link to my email mastery as well. If you want to take that free challenge, you can go through all the design elements that I touched on earlier as well. So here's to making more money from your email marketing. Here's to increasing your sales in your product business. Here is to not spending more time on your business, utilizing your time wisely. All right, I hope that helps. I look forward to sharing more with you next episode, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Lotco Business Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you subscribe to receive future episodes as they are released. And I'd be so grateful for a review on Apple Podcast. If you would like a copy of the show notes or any of the links mentioned today, please jump onto my website at thelotco.com.au/podcast. Have an amazing week, and I look forward to chatting to you again soon.